This is a big rich town. I just come from the poorest part. Bright light, city light, I gotta make it. This is where it goes down. I just happen to come apart. Legal or illegal, baby, I gotta make it.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Power After Hours, your favorite power podcast. I'm your host, Jeff J. Chrissy Breeze with me, too, and we are here to review Power Season 6, Episode 4. Why is Tommy still alive?
Why you say it like that?
I don't even know at this point. You feel me? So, tell me, Miss Chrissy, what did you think about the episode?
You know, I didn't watch it live because I just did not have time yesterday. So I saw a lot of comments before I watched it. People were really disappointed with the episode. So I tried not to go into the episode with that notion. Mm-hmm. It seems like people are really bothered by this season right now. Mm-hmm. But I actually, it just reminded me how ain't shit Ghost really is. Like, I feel like every episode this season, I'm being reminded of how I just can't stand him. I'm growing more and more to not like him. And I have so many reasons why, but I'll get into that as we progress. What did you think about it?
I thought it was cool. It's probably my least favorite episode of the season. Not saying I hated it, but just from every other episode, it's probably my least favorite. Mm-hmm. I do feel like, and we could get into it, you know, deeper, whatever. If we weren't already over the soap opera cliff, we're looking down. We're looking over the corner. We're looking over the edge, and we're like, I get the whole hallucination angle with Angela. I think he's broken, and you know, anytime Ghost hits the bottle, bad things happen. So,
that's true.
You know, I could tell that he's disturbed, and Angela is the manifestation of all his guilt for everything that's happened throughout this entire series. Shout out to everybody who's saying he's having full blown conversations with Ghost Angela, but ain't thought about Raina ever since.
Bruh, can we really talk about that though? Like, you ain't think twice. You sold your daughter. Okay, let's be real. You sold your daughter's name in her death. And now you're crying over a woman that you cheated on your wife with. Let's be very clear here. And then you want your wife to feel bad about the fact that you lost your side piece. And then you want to be mad that your wife is trying to move on. Like, I got mad issues with Ghost right now.
Yeah, tons. I mean, well, you know, he kind of says it in the beginning, like, you know, Raina's dead. Queen's Child Project isn't funded. He wants out of the drug game, but he's still caught up with Mitic and Tommy, and you know,
that's getting ugly.
Right, like he says he feels guilty, and then the manifestation of Angela says, "Well, if you feel guilty, why is Tommy still alive?" And I think it's funny that he took that as an order to kill Tommy, when in actuality it wasn't. It was just a question. And I feel like that was his subconscious, or Angela, whatever that representation is, which I'm figuring it's his subconscious, was just trying to see what he would do when posed the question, how he would interpret it, and how he's going to move on. So he gets that question and sees it as a hit. Yeah. When in actuality, it was literally just a question. And he's going through everything in his mind. And he's getting into another situation, a space where he wants out. He wants out, and he's trying to get out as best as he possibly can, which causes him to do some things that he would not normally do. For example, Proctor brings Dre over, and he wants to put a pen through his skull, through his eye, lodge it into his skull, and Proctor wants to use him to clear his name. And Ghost doesn't trust him, and I mean rightfully so, because if Dre's been a snake, he's showing full Cobra Commander right now.
Yeah. Like, they have his daughter, yeah, but at the end of the day, Dre's still going to look out for Dre. And I think that's the one thing that I applaud Ghost on is because he kind of sees that even, as the episode is going on, you can see he's still side-eyeing Dre, despite the fact that, it came through that the feds did have his kid. He's still not sure on him, and I don't blame him. Dre has screwed him over like 20 million times, and he's not about to be screwed over for the 20 million and one time. So he's like, I'm just going to watch my back here, and I get it. You know what I mean? Like, but I agree with you in the fact that Angela is like his subconscious. I think that he's now being asked all of the questions that we as the fans have been saying from the very beginning. Like, she's basically saying everything that we've thought and we've addressed. And now he's having to answer to those questions and those feelings and those problems, which is something he's so good at skirting. Like, he didn't even grieve his daughter, if you want to be 100. So he's done really well at compressing his emotions and his feelings. And now he's having to answer and atone for them.
Right. And then if you think about it on another level, right, this was the one time where he should have trusted his intuition. Because as you can see, Dre is only out for Dre, and he's playing both sides. Now, I get it that they want him to use him to control the narrative, and Ghost is saying, if you want him to do X, Y, Z, he got to wear a wire. We got to make sure that he's clearing the name. If anything smells funny, you're dead, basically, right? But it's funny, Dre's doing all this play both sides things where there's no guarantee he's going to get his daughter back.
No, I don't think he does.
Unless he signed a deal, like another immunity deal, they could take everything from him, all that information, and still throw his ass in jail.
Well, we know Sax is dirty right now. Sax is playing.
He's filthy.
He's not playing by the book, bro. So we all know that, like, at the end of the day, Dre is still not going to get his kid. Like, we all know that. Period.
Exactly.
He can do what he wants, but it's not going to go down that way.
And I didn't know, because the fact that he came in and he's like, yo, it's my daughter, I changed. After everything that he wants to do, and even Ghost said he wants to be the boss. He wants to be the kingpin. He's looking to pick up the pieces wherever this falls. And you see his fears are realized. He goes after, well, I won't say he goes after, but he confronts Maria Suarez and brings a gun and some money, goes to bribe her, basically to bribe her to leave town and forget about everything, start a new life.
Bro, he even said you can stay. He said you don't even have to leave town. You can stay here. Just don't say shit.
Word. And I thought it was ill. Like Dre, one of the quickest one-hand texters in the history of the world. Like he hitting Sax like, yo, Ghost strapped. Ghost
kill.
Right. No kill, right?
What is Call of Duty?
Right. He's on a headset like, I'm going upstairs right now. Look, go through the front. Like, I'm right here. Just go through the front. I got you.
Sniper.
Yeah,
bro, like, it's crazy.
But it's ill because when he texts, I thought it was Proctor. Proctor is a great tactician because I thought it was ill how he gave him the fake tip about paying off Maria Suarez, which I thought it was fake, but actually I guess it was what he wanted to do. Followed Sax to her apartment to get the address. Then once Ghost goes over there, he tells Sax, like, yo, he's here right now. He's strapped. He may be trying to do X, Y, Z. And you think about it. Even when he told Sax he was there, Sax wasn't really trying to save Maria Suarez. He was just trying to catch Ghost in whatever act. So once he dropped the money and dip, Dre knew, yo, I got to call this off because if I don't, I'm clearly exposed. And I like that scene where they pull up right as they're waiting on the light and Dre's just looking in the back the entire time like, oh shit. But it's funny, like the FBI runs up in there and they're just like, nah, he's not here. So Sax was even using the FBI on some under the table shit to try to jam up Ghost. So it makes sense why they wouldn't do anything further other than look for the dude that they said was there and just keep it moving.
But do you think, I couldn't really tell in the car, did Ghost not see the FBI pull up? Because I see, if you look at the scene itself, Dre is sitting there. Dre is obviously looking in the rearview mirror, and you can see Ghost kind of side-eyeing and looking at him, trying to figure out, what's going on. But I couldn't tell if Ghost saw the police pull up or not.
For someone, And you know, thinking about it now, to me, it's kind of a plot hole to me, right? Because you telling me you leave an apartment, you have no reason, you're Ghost. You have no reason to check your rearview mirror and see it.
Right.
And maybe, and I thought maybe he saw it and he was keeping it close to the vest and was going to pull up on Dre when they got back to Truth.
That's what I thought too.
You know, he either didn't see it, didn't notice, was just focused on the road. You know, driving, I naturally tend to look at my rearview mirror just to see everything that's going on. So I don't know. And the other thing was, we were looking out of Dre's side view mirror, so we don't know what the rear view was saying. But I find it hard to believe that the rear view wouldn't have caught at least
that.
FBI jackets or whatever the case may be. So I don't know. I don't know. But it seems as though Dre is going to be somebody. Dre is just trying to play whatever side until he gets a fortunate resolution. Because even if Ghost gets cleared, then they're just going to take his daughter.
Yeah.
That, like, I can't see any other outcome.
No, there isn't one, actually.
Right.
And the other thing that's crazy to me that kind of bothered me in this episode is the fact that they're just giving Dre this kind of free reign in the club again, right? Like, so they get back from whatever just popped off, and Dre just randomly is able to go in another room and call Sax and talk on the phone inside of the club. Like, where, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I feel like this episode was one that could have been almost thrown away. You know how Game of Thrones had episodes sometimes that was like, all right, we didn't really need that.
Right.
Like it was a filler episode. I feel like that's what this was, because there was a lot of times that I was just confused by why we were even being given this. You know what I mean?
Right. I think the whole thing was he was bringing Dre back into the Empire in order to, like, bringing him back in, and he's supposed to be working with him and putting up that facade. But Ghost still gave him free reign over the whole Truth. Like, just even walking around, because even when you see, like that whole scene, and we'll get to it when Mitic pulls up on Ghost in Truth, and Dre is looking at him from below, like, oh shit, like what the fuck is this going on? You know, it's just like, all right, maybe he took advantage because of everything that was going on in the club in the time, but yeah, it's just I would want that dude next to me. At all times. Day. You can't go nowhere else. You gotta stand next to me. You gotta treat him like a kid. I would even have one of those bracelets that they be having. That's like the dog collars for kids. I just
can't believe that he's able to text like that, and Ghost is not catching on to that. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like I felt like this was just too oblivious. There were a few things. You know what I mean? Like if we get to the part, you know, when we start talking about Ghost actually taking up on what Angela said, when she asked him why is Tommy still alive, like, Ghost, we've seen you with a gun quite a few times, bro. You mean to tell me you miss a direct shot at Tommy like that?
Well, I'll say this. Everyone who's a gangster ain't a shooter.
Oh.
You feel me?
Shots fired.
So no, I'm being real. You think about all the shots he's hit throughout the series, they've been point blank.
That's true.
So him running and shooting and doing all of that, he wasn't, I don't know if he was close enough to get a direct hit, but the fact that he was under duress and bobbing and weaving, I think that's realistic that he would not have hit. He wasn't as close as it seemed.
Because they made it seem like he was right. I mean, technically he hit the car.
Right. And then he popped up and then pulled up. And then he sprayed shots and then ran away when he knew that they may shoot back or whatever have you. Yeah, they should have probably did it from a bigger distance. But I know from point blank range, like if you're directly in his face, you're dead. But like some ranged shit, like I don't know. But the fact that he's able to use, I thought that whole scene with Tate where he's able to use, you're like what you can see is, you know, this whole show has been about power dynamics since it started, right? And where Ghost, it's like Ghost has been in a constant state of war, a tug of war over his power, like over the power he can wield and the power that other people have over him. So with Tate, he's able to thug Tate into shutting down that city block so that they're not able to go out and make their drops. So they use the ambulance they use the ambulance as a service vehicle. They're able to get out of that, and that's how he's able to set it up, right? But at the same time, Tate's been woke on him, been following him, been keeping tabs on him, and then he gets those detectives to bring him into his own office,
which is crazy,
and basically let him know, like, you know, I'm watching you. I'm not letting you anything you do ruin this campaign for me. Like, you got to stop. And Ghost automatically reasserts himself to say, you know, he's your problem as much as mine because my money's tied up in this. Stay the fuck out of my way. I'm handling this. Like, don't ever do this again. And you could tell Tate is kind of like, all right, but I feel like he still is with that Will dude. He's still trying to find a way to get Ghost out of here when he needs it the most.
Oh yeah, it's only a matter of time. Like, you could see, like, every time Tate is just like okay when he backs down to Ghost, it's always more to his okay. You know what I mean? Like, There's gonna be a second half, especially now that you've got Tasha involved with all of this. They want them to stay married to look like this, you know, great couple that they are not. So it's a lot of moving pieces, and I know that Tate is gonna get what he wants, you know, in the end of it, or he may be exposed too. Shit, we don't know. He's up to some shady stuff too.
Right, exactly. And you could even see with Mitic popping up. Well, first off, Tate being in his chair, spinning around, talking to him, that he really tried to boss up on him. And the thing is, I think he understood how that Ghost wasn't all clean. He understood that Ghost wasn't clean and that he was dealing with somebody who was really from, like, really of the streets and dealing in some shit that he probably don't want to know about. But I don't think that he knew how much of a fuck Ghost don't give anymore. You know what I mean? And
it's definitely ready. Angela dying, I think, changed a lot of his perspective. Like, he just got that fuck it attitude. You know what I mean? And I think part of that is a good thing because when it comes down to it, you are going to have that mentality. But at the same time, Ghost doesn't have anybody.
Right.
Like, Tommy has a crew. Who does Ghost have? You can't trust Dre. You've got an attorney who's never going to really get his hands dirty for you, essentially, in that way. So he does not have a team of anybody, which is why he needs Tommy, which is why Mitic has so much over him. He knows that at the end of it, Ghost loses. There's no way he walks out of it clean when you don't have anybody that got your back.
And his dynamic, Mitic is funny, right? Because he's trying to get the most out of both of them while still seeing Tommy and Ghost as disposable. But the fact that he couldn't get Alicia Jimenez, but he could get a state official to block a area of the city for him to orchestrate a hit. That is the ultimate boss move. That's the ultimate power move. And that's something that Jason sees and says, I need that. So once again, he proposes, you kill Tommy, you take him out the way, you can be my new distro again. And Ghost ain't having it. I'm not that man anymore, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, yo, you either going to put a bullet in my head or we're done. And, you know, Jason walks away. But that, once again, shows me that there's a lot of people who ain't finished with him yet.
Nope.
And you don't know what the next move is going to be, which makes me think that Jason is going to make a move against him that's going to force Tommy and Ghost to finally have their one more unholy alliance to go get Jason. And that's what it's shaping up to be, because you can even see Ghost is fed up with the payments. He tries to get the goons to tell him to lower the payments, and they don't give a fuck. And they're like, you don't pay, you die. He said, I die, you don't get the money. Chicken or the egg, what you want? Like either way, he's gonna have to lower the money because this shit is straight extortion, and I don't have it. I don't have the money like that to keep up in a clip. Like he's literally on E right now. You think about it, between the properties in Miami, the properties in New York, he's not pulling in enough money after everything to be giving $200,000 a month.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
That's a lot of money.
Just for the right to stay alive.
And not even really alive. Because Tommy could easily just come and pop his ass. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have, like, at least Tommy has, you know, the protection of Jason right now. Ghost don't even have that. So essentially, he's even more exposed, I would think. I don't see that there's a way that Ghost actually walks away clean from this. And when I say clean, I mean like at some point he's going to have to get back into the game. And I think the reason is going to be because of Tariq.
Right.
I think he's going to have to get his son out of whatever Tariq has got himself involved in at this point. It's a big ass mess. And I think that's actually what's going to end up bringing Ghost and Tommy together, is it's going to be having to take down this dude and Mitic in order to clean Tariq out.
Right, exactly. And Tariq, like you talk about this dude, he's robbing Tommy to distribute for Vincent. Like, I didn't think he was going to go that level, but he has. And it's funny because when Tommy goes to Vincent on some, yo, I got some stuff for y'all to move, y'all got the best stuff in the game, and it's actually his stuff, finding out that Tariq is working with him, Vincent gets more interesting because not only does, and I love their talk about Tommy telling Vincent to keep his godson out of it, keep Tariq out of it. And Vincent is like, you gonna come here and tell me that when you got my godson killed.
Yep.
Because you went and had him do stuff that we told you not to do, not to involve them in, and you got my godson killed, but yet you want me to stop dealing with him. You know what? Get the fuck out. This is your courtesy. Get the fuck out, right? So Vincent's in an interesting position where he finds out that Tariq is Ghost's son and tells him, yo, basically like, you know, you're not as smart as you think you are. I'm not trying to bring heat to me. And you know, Tariq is playing that's not really, you know, Tariq can be smart and stupid outwardly when he wants to, like what he wants to protect. Just like how he told Tommy that was what he got from Kanan and he don't know and he lost the stash. Then he tells Vince, like, yo, I don't even fuck with Ghost like that no more. Like, that's just what it is. So Vince is like, yo, get me my product, however you get me my product. And
you think Tommy believed him though when he said it was from Kanan? I feel like Tommy hesitated. Like
he hesitated.
There was no way Kanan could have got that product from him.
I think he's giving Tariq the benefit of the doubt because he knows he was running with Kanan, and after that whole ceremony they had, he's just like, all right. And you see Tommy telling him like, yo, you don't need to do this. You in a good school. You got a good life. This dorm is bigger than the whole building of my apartment I used to live in. Like, cut it out. Like, he doesn't want Tariq to get mired in the game because he doesn't either want him to die or want to put him in a position where he's going to have to kill him. So, you know, that's why he's just keeping him out the game. And that's probably the most prudent thing Tommy said to anyone other than telling Ghost not to mess with Angela all the way back in season 1.
Yeah, all the way back.
That might have been one of the most prudent things he said to anybody in the series.
Ghost didn't listen in.
Like, you know, and that's the thing. Like, and then you look at Vincent. For him to be able to say, I see myself in Tariq and sees that ambition, and his man telling him like, yo, I think this is a bad idea. It's too much liability, basically, between Tommy and Ghost.
And it is.
Yo, we can kill him whenever, but for now, we're just going to use him. Like, all three of these characters, Tommy, Ghost, Tariq, are being used by people on the outside that they would have smashed years ago.
If they would just work together.
The
problem is their egos got in the way. You've got Tommy who he just wants to assert himself to seem like he can do what Ghost can do. But at the end of the day, they're both good at their individual things. Tommy was always good at running the distro. He was always good at handling the drops, the money, getting stuff done like that. Ghost was good at recon. Ghost could tell you how to handle the business side of things to keep everything clean. So essentially, they both need each other. They're just too stubborn to realize it.
Right.
Like, Ghost is a genius when it comes to the things that he knows how to do.
Right.
Like you said, when he had them shut down the streets. But it's just, they're not going to be able to work together until some supernatural force forces their hand. And I think it's going to be Tariq that has to bring them together to save his ass.
Right. I think Tommy's an underrated tactician, but I think Ghost he's the better strategist, right? But I think in terms of actual tactics that they use to carry it out, Tommy be having ideas. Like when Tommy thinks with a clear mind,
no drugs.
He has ideas. No drugs, or just no impulse to kill anybody. Like
well, he's very emotional. That's the problem. Ghost had that. He was never emotional until he started fucking with Angela.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Angela fucked it all up.
100%. And that's where we are. that's where we are right now with the situation. You're all in vulnerable positions, and how they get out of it or how they don't get out of it is going to be interesting to see. So, all right, we could talk about Proctor. We could talk about Keisha and Kate, that conversation about whether or not Keisha's a good fit for him, or we could talk about Tasha. What you want to talk about?
Let's just start. Since it ended with Proctor, let's hold off on that. I do want to talk a little bit, since we're talking about Tommy, about Keisha. I think this episode.
Do you agree with Kate?
Yeah, it showed me her hand this episode. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, she's always going to choose Cash, and that's just the bottom line. As a mother, I know that's the goddamn truth. You're going to choose your kid before you choose your dude. So I think that Tommy is blind in that aspect, and if he would listen to his own advice that he gave Ghost in that beginning season about Angela, he would see that. He's in love, I think. I don't even know that it's really love. I think it's more of a lust. But at the end of the day, if he sits down and analyzes it, Keisha's not really about that life. The moment she's threatened with somebody taking her son, she is going to rat his ass out. And you saw her face when he was saying all that stuff. She was not into it for real, for real. She was looking like, oh shit. She's not. I'm telling you, the moment they catch her, it's a wrap. He's done.
Right. I think for all of Kate's faults and coke habits, she be knowing. She does. She still has the mom instinct and intuition. When Cash got jumped by them kids and she was ready to go fight them kids, Kate was like, "Yo, you making it hot on the block right now. Yep. He might have to take that L. Like y'all not from around here. Like you making it hot." He's like, "Yo, what would you do?" She's like, "Yeah, I'd go beat the ass." All right then. So she already knew that she didn't have that next level of awareness for her situation to know when to let certain stuff go. And she wasn't wrong. She was not wrong. But even Kate, thinking in the grander scheme, because she said something that was very poignant to Tommy. When people let you down, it doesn't end well for them or for you. Like, she knows. Look at Holly. Look at Teresi. Look at anybody that's crossed his path. Like, they die.
Yeah.
And then he deals with the ramifications.
Face when she said, she didn't have kids, and his face was just like, it kind of got sad about Holly. Like, I feel like he still misses Holly. Every time she's brought up, you could just see this sadness come over him. Like, that really affected Tommy in that season. And it still does, I think. Yeah.
And he gets upset at her because she be saying real shit, and he don't want to hear it from her. And he discredits her because she has a drug problem, which is the biggest irony ever.
Okay.
Right? Biggest irony ever. And he discredits her for that, but when she gets proven correct, and he loves her, and he's trying to, like, he's been a man without a family for years, and he's had his mom, and he's had the streets, and he's had Ghost. So he said he thought Ghost was his family. It's not. And you could tell he has a gaping hole that it just keeps getting patched up. It doesn't get filled and reinforced. It just gets patched up. And every time it gets patched up, it gets caved in. And he's putting that burden on Keisha. And Keisha's faking the funk. She's talking a good game, but it's all gonna come crashing down at some point, and Kate would have been right.
She's going to be right, and he'll be right back in her bed talking about some mom crying like he did after the whole Holly situation. So it's just give it time. I know that Keisha, I just saw her face when he was saying how this is what I think he said, this is what I've always wanted. And her face kind of just changed. It wasn't smiling anymore. She knows that Kate is right. When it comes down to it, if those feds come and they say, we will take your kid, or you have to tell us XYZ, she is singing like a damn canary. Mark my words.
Oh, yeah, that's a big fact. Yeah. All right, what you think about this guy, Quentin?
I think that I want for Tasha to have somebody that is loyal to her, that isn't dirty, that just wants to love her. You know what I mean? Right. Like, I want her to be happy, but at the same time, I know that Ghost ain't shit. What really bothered me was when he walked into the daycare and Ghost was there as well.
Right.
And you see Ghost staring him down, and I'm like, nigga, what you mad about? Like, what are you really mad about? Like, you over here supposed to be grieving your side piece. Why can't he let Tasha find happiness? What is it about him that he will not allow her to be free and happy? I don't, for the life of me, understand it, and it's starting to really piss me off.
Well, He's greedy. Like, let's just call it what it is. He's greedy.
Yeah.
And he don't want to see her prosper with any man that's not named James St. Patrick, even if James St. Patrick don't want her. But I just, and that's natural. Like, he goes through with he sees the dude and he's like, what the fuck is this about? I just thought it was a lot where dude pulls up and he's like, yeah, I'm looking for a daycare for my daughter. And then they get into the conversation. He feeling her a little bit. Then pulls back up the next day. And then they get into a conversation about he wants to see her. They get it hot and heavy in the
office.
And then she's like, I cannot do this.
Right, girl.
You don't want to be this woman. And he's like, but can I take you out, though?
Right.
That's such a lot. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. And I had a conversation at work about it. I'm just like, does it really go down like that?
I've never been in that situation.
Does it really go down like that? And shout out to anybody who said, shout out to my homie, my coworker Rachel, who said she don't even think he has a daughter. He just thinks that he saw her when he was walking by and pulled up with the wild lie.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because I'm like, even when the daycare was technically open, like, I feel like he was looking at a child, but I couldn't tell if that was supposed to be his child or not.
Right.
Like when she pulled him in the office to let him down easily, I guess you can say. But I get where she's coming from. I think she's trying to protect him because of what happened to Silver. She does not want to see that also happen to this man because she knows this man has a child.
Right.
So I think she's looking out for his best interest at this point. But I'm just wondering if this guy is even a good guy. You really got to side-eye everybody on this show because you don't know who they're going to end up being in the grand scheme of things.
Right. And then this dude is like, I ain't going nowhere. And I'm like, fam, you've met her twice.
Twice, yo. What do you mean? Talking about something, don't mess with my future. If you talk to me like that on the second date,
it's not even a date, though.
Yo.
Y'all really didn't date. Y'all hung out. He stopped by. One was a business visit, really. The second was like a personal visit. They hadn't date. They didn't hang out. A man says that to you, I'm sorry. That's a red flag.
That's
running. That's a red flag. What you mean you not going nowhere? Nigga, you just got here.
It sounds good, but it's not. It's not good. It's not good.
Okay, possessive.
I can see if they had been dating for like a couple months or some shit. Like if Silver had said that, okay, got it. Understood.
Right.
But this dude, like, we've seen you in 3 scenes at this point.
Right.
3. Which leads me to believe there is something more there. I'm just not sure what it is yet, but we're going to find out.
Right. And we don't know who he is, what his background is. He seems like he's not scared of dudes or whatever. And, it's like you got hood dudes and you got, like, hood dudes.
Yeah,
and I don't think he knows the level of fuck shit he's getting himself into when he talks. And the relationship between Tasha and Ghost is still being strained. The whole dissolution of the Queen's Child Project so they could get more money is probably to pay Mitic off and put it back towards the Queen's Child Project too. And she even says some shit like what she said. She said you stole the money like you take everything from me, right? And he forges it, and then he goes. The arguments. It's funny how the argument goes when they're talking about money. Like he was like, yo, you didn't make any of this money. Like, why do you feel like you have a claim to it? And I ain't married. I haven't had to share finances with a significant other, so I'm not going to speak out my mind. I'll just say that's a lot. That's a lot to say to somebody who's held you down in iniquity, criminal activity.
Got rid of clothes with blood on it, and knows everything about every person, everything that you've ever done, knows every aspect of your being, has had your 3 children, has taken care of those 3 children while you was out there gallivanting with your side bitch in Miami. Like, listen, she could have said a lot of things right there. I will be damned if a man that I am married to ever says this is the money I made, because at the same time, you may be out there working, but if I'm at home taking care of the house, making sure you got a meal every day, making sure your kids kids are fed, clothed, go to bed, they good, they in school. My nigga, I'm owed half, and we can argue about that.
I mean,
Trust.
depending on the state and whatnot, you know what I'm saying?
Let's not do this, California.
I mean, I hear you, but she shouldn't have signed the prenup.
No, now that's where she fucked up. But at the same time, I think she just expects Ghost to have a sense of decency and say, look, like, I've still got your kids, but the one kid, they don't talk about it. So maybe Ghost don't view that as...
he be forgetting. He be like, oh shit, we got 2? That's crazy. Yo, I'm telling you, like, it'd be hard. Like, yo, damn, I damn near forgot. Show me in the credits.
He don't know he got kids no more. Ghost is lost, child. He don't know nothing.
You don't remember the baby that almost choked on the toy that you brought?
That you brought.
Word.
From that damn aquarium, wherever the fuck they were.
Damn, Tasha, I ain't see her in one whole season.
He is ridiculous, yo. I can't stand that dude. But I couldn't believe he had the gall to say that to her. And then she was like, you went behind my back. And she was like, really? The person who signed my name on this piece of paper over here?
Right.
We really gonna do that today?
And I like how Ramona keeps trying to offer advice about what to do. Like, she's just like, yo, this is the type of stuff that happens. Yeah. You got the money, just hold it down. And she's like, yo, you don't got kids. I got kids. You don't know what it's like to lose a kid. You don't know everything that we've been through. So, unless you want me to pull my cards, this is what's going down. And at this point, not to mention the fact that there's clearly some attraction between Ramona and them. So she's probably just trying to smooth it over so that she could slide it at some point, like maybe somewhere in the darkest recesses of her mind. But yeah, like, and that just shows another way that that Ghost is crumbling. Like, even at the end when he's talking to Angela, right? And he's like lamenting everything, like, yo, I shouldn't have. That's not the person I want to be. I shouldn't have gone after Tommy. I gotta let this go. I gotta let the stuff go with her. Gotta let the stuff go with Tommy and truly move forward. Regrets the day because that dress that she was wearing was from the first episode
when she was at Truth.
When she went to Truth. That was what she was wearing when she was in Truth. So that was a cool callback. And he's just basically like, yo, I should have never rolled up on you. I should have never involved you in this. And it was funny because he was just like, I want to be a better man for me. And when Angela says, well, what makes you think you cared? He's like, well, I rolled up on Maria Suarez. I didn't kill her. And she was like, you will. That shit, I was like, wow.
Wow. I took a step back on that. I was like, man, that shit's real.
Because we all know that shit is true.
It's true. It's very, very true because that girl is a liability. We all know it. She, at any point, can come out and say something, and she probably will now more than ever. She's scared. Right. She is scared, and you could see that when he pulled up on her. Like, it's a mess right now. It's a mess.
What'd you think about that Proctor scene with his ex?
Man.
Ex-wife?
The moment she opened that envelope, I knew that she was going to spiral. And especially as he's talking about his happiness, when you're an addict, you see things, anything that is negative can cause you to spiral, anything. And not only did she get that piece of paper saying that she failed the bar, she's also listening to the person, her ex-husband, talk about how happy he is with another woman, that he's going to propose, that, he's happy and he's proud of her, but she's not proud of herself. She's still in that negative space. So when the daughter calls him, because clearly she is overdosing, right? Mm-hmm. It was sad to me because, you want to see people, you want to see them do well, especially when a kid is involved. But when you're so deep, like I with that damn book bag sitting there, as he says, I'm not going to let you take my kid away from me. That shit is messy. Like, now we potentially could have Proctor right there admitting to the fact that he let her die. Right.
And you could tell he wanted her to fall off the wagon because that was going to be the way for him to end it. Like, they were doing that. So it's okay. I'm about to troll her up. I don't even know if that whole engagement.
You think it was fake? You think she was a?
I don't think that any of that was real because we don't know about Proctor's personal life, like really past his daughters and his ex and his family, right? But I don't know. He's showing her the ring. He's showing her all of that. I could see him setting it up so that she fell off the wagon, so that if she did a drug test, she would lose custody of the kid. I think that's what he was doing. So when he got called over, that's why he was like, yo, how many grams was in that bag, Lindsay? How many grams was in that bag? Because she like snorted the whole state at that point.
I don't think he would do that to his daughter, though. I don't think he would put his daughter in the middle of that. I don't think he would want her to die. Child with her.
I don't think he wanted her to die. But this is
but you think he would let her do coke with his daughter?
No, well, she wasn't. Well, she's done it before.
Well, true story.
She's done it before, so I don't think he was looking at it like that. But the minute she fell off, you know what? I feel like if all of that
she was hallucinating.
Right. I feel like if all of that was true, what he was saying, he did that to straight troll her.
Yeah, I think once she saw that she failed that test, that she started hallucinating. I don't even think he was really in the house at that point, to be 100%. I think he had dropped the girl off, made that snide-ass comment, and dipped the fuck out. I think she was actually hallucinating. It didn't seem real. Like, the way he was talking to her, he's never talked to her like that before. So it came out of left field. It just seemed like maybe she had been hallucinating a little bit once she opened that piece of mail. So
I don't know. I don't know if that was the case, only because they showed them outside beforehand, and then she wasn't on anything when she opened it. So I don't think it was so much hallucination as it was just like once she realized that she failed the bar, and then he's talking about his new best life.
Right.
All that shit went into a spiral. But it was so real when he was still trying to hold her down, like, yo, if I call the cops, what's going to happen?
Yeah,
they're going to take you away, blah, blah, blah. And then he starts to dial and looks at her and he's like, yo, fuck this.
Yeah, she was overdosing. You could see it coming out of her mouth. Yeah.
So, of course, he says, I'm not going to let you take my little girl from me in front of that bug. But here's the thing. Sax still has to get that bug.
Oh,
because that's why she was able to bring it into him. It's not a remote thing.
Okay.
It's not point to point. It's like,
okay,
it's
so he has to physically get
tracer.
the USB.
He has to get that back and listen to it because he already has hours of her being a shit mom, and that was his catalyst for him to say, yo, the only thing they're gonna hear on this bug is you being a terrible mother and take that kid away. We need to get him. That's why he was able to. She heard her daughter told her about Tommy, and then he pressed him about Tommy, and of course Proctor denied it or whatever the case may be, and once again they threatened Proctor, and he was able to dodge all of that, but he's going to have somehow, some way, he's going to have to get that bug now that she's dead. So I'm interested to see how they do it and what happens if he gets it, because I'm still not convinced that that bug is all the way legal.
Yeah, I don't think anything Sax is doing right now is legal. I think he's doing everything off the books. Like, there's no way the stuff that he's doing with Dre is sanctioned. I think right now he's just trying to get a win.
Right.
He needs a win to save his career. So he's putting shit out at all angles to see what sticks. And that's what he's doing. And you'll find something. But, like you said in last episode, when you know too much, you done.
Exactly. All right. Anything else on this episode?
No, I think that was it.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
We got one question today from shout out to the fans, Power After Hours, Power Talk. Submit all your questions, comments, slander, and everything in between to @PowerAfterHours on Twitter, or you can email powerafterhourspod@gmail.com. So this one is from my homie Chantel Lowe on Twitter. Ghost is a perfect example of the men who describe themselves as good, who people say are good, but are actually deeply abusive to their wives. He may never hit Tasha, but he abuses her by controlling her life and making her live in fear of what he may do.
Come on, Sean. Girl, listen, I couldn't have said it better myself, because what he does is emotional and mental abuse. Putting the money, like, he always makes it seem like it's his money. And when somebody hears that over and over and over, you start to feel like you're worthless, like you're not shit. And he puts her down so much, and really essentially has done since the beginning of this series, that it's surprising to me that Tasha really has never played her hand. Like, she could essentially take him down, but I think it's because he's the father of her kids.
And they're in they're a whole drug cartel thing, and she knew about the She knew about the prenup. So even if anything were to go down, she still wasn't going to be able to get anything. And it's funny thinking about all of that, which I definitely agree with. Like, it's clear what he's doing. I feel like it's almost retaliation for her not letting him leave the game or not supporting it from all the way in season 1, episode 1, where he wants to get out and she's like, yo, fuck you gonna do? Be a banker? Like, this is our life. This is what it is. So ever since then, it was like, you were good. You were good for me until you weren't. And now I've done all this wrong shit. So in order to try to control you, I'm going to throw out all the fact that I was making all the money and you weren't. And he tries to subjugate her, but clearly avoiding the bullshit that he did to her. Because the fact is, the family would still be intact if he didn't step out.
If he didn't step out.
And if he would have stayed out, they might have been in a better place.
I agree.
So
I agree.
I definitely agree with that. There's a lot of abuse on this show between the whole thing with Tommy and Holly. Any of the women, like, you know, and all of that. There's a lot of those dynamics, and then you see it on the flip side with Jukebox, the way she was treating Kanan and stuff like that, and like with her like girlfriend or whatever the case may be. Like, it's ill to see those dynamics at play.
Yeah, I agree, man. This show gives you a lot of different aspects of life all on your TV screen. You'd be like, wait a minute, that could have, what? I love the way Courtney Kemp has directed, you know, this show in general. I think it's been a great representation of the word power, essentially, because you're seeing it from so many different angles. But I am looking forward to more episodes, because this one was one of those that I could have just balled up and boop, boop, thrown away.
Yeah.
Did a Jordan.
Yeah, you know? I just hope they can close up some of them plot holes and just
it's too many right now.
It's too many. Like, it's just too, like, this episode was just kind of like, y'all just trying to get to episode 5. Episode 5 better be lit, because like I felt like this was decent, but it definitely was one of my least favorite. Well, probably the least favorite one of this season. So it is what it is, and that is it for us. Thank you so much once again for joining the Power After Hours crew. If you want to talk to us more about the show or anything else on social, you can find us all over the interwebs, the social medias, and all of that. I'm Jeff J. Says on all social media. Chrissy, where can they find you?
You love rubbing that shit in, that you the same handle all across social media.
Nobody told you to change your shit. I'm
at Chrissy's_kitchen on Twitter, and I'm Chrissy Bree on Instagram. Jeff, I swear I'm going to knock you out.
We use our words on this podcast. We do not use our hands. Miss Chrissy Bree's Kitchen. Okay? That's what your name should be. Actually.
Whatever.
Shut up. And that one is free. And all additional ones we can talk about my fee. Because we hashtag pay black people. We are pro playback.
This what we doing? Okay.
I'm saying I was ready to go. I was signing off, and you started talking about he want to rub it in. And
I wish y'all could see Jeff's face right now. He's killing me.
And dippity doo dah.
You are an angry black woman right now.
Wow. Ain't no such thing as an angry black woman. It's only the people that pissed her off.
Just sign off, my nigga.
Thank you so much for joining us, and until next time, we will catch you later.
Peace.
I just come from the poorest part. Right night, city life, I gotta make it. This is where it goes. Yeah, I just have enough. Wait a minute. They say this is a big risk. Say what? I just come from bright light, city light. This is where it goes down. Yeah. I just have enough. Legal or illegal, baby, I gotta make it. Southside.